Hey YouTube, this is Humberto Gray from GrayLaw TV, and today I'm going to talk about once you have your visitor visa or your F1 student visa, what happens when you're coming into the airport. There could be problems if you're not very careful. So now you have your F1 visa, your student visa, you have your B1, B2, perhaps you've even been to the US a couple times, okay? And now you're coming to the airport, and what happens? They pull you into secondary. That's where they want to do a secondary inspection. I've had this happen to me, believe it or not, several times, even though I'm a US citizen and I'm an immigration attorney practicing for a very long time. I played on the golf tour in the Dominican Republic years ago, and I was coming back through Florida. And they said, Mr. Gray, you're going over into secondary. And so I thought to myself, wow, I've gotten so many frantic calls from my client about going into secondary. Now I'm going to see what it feels like. I had no idea why they had pulled me over, but I was very calm, cool, collected. I waited. So the officers called me in, and there was a good officer and a bad officer. They were playing against each other. I think they thought I was a drug dealer or something. Anyway, so we went through the whole process. They asked me questions. I told them where I'd been. You know, I'm on a golf tour in the Dominican Republic as an amateur, and even though it's a professional tour, it's not like the USPGA, believe me. Never was that good. But they asked me the questions, everything matched up, and they let me go. So the advice that I can give to you, number one, if you're pulled over, you're going to know what they're going to do is they're going to take your laptop and they're going to take your cell phone. So let's say you're on the F1 student visa and you're about to graduate and you're going to apply for the OPT, the practical training, which allows you to work legally in the US. Let's say you have a couple of emails from employers you've been looking for work. Again, these officers already have your laptop. They've already looked at these emails. They think you're working without authorization in the US, or you're looking for employment in derogation of your actual F1 visa. So what you want to do is they're going to question you, and you need to be very clear and very honest. You tell them, look, I'm about to graduate. I haven't been working because I know that goes against my F1 student visa. I'm merely looking for employment because I'm filing for my practical training. Now, if you say, nope, I've never looked for work in the US, that's problematic. They can deny your entry, cancel your visa, and expeditiously remove you from the US. That's devastating because then you lose everything. So you want to be very truthful, you want to be honest. Social media. Let's say you're coming back in on a B visa and you're falling in love. You have your love interest, you have all these pictures posted on Instagram, you have all of these pictures posted on Facebook, Snapchat, etc. with your girlfriend. Again, the officer is going to ask you, are you seeing anyone in the US? Well, number one, here's what I would advise. Delete all your social media, please, because if they take your actual laptop and all of these things are posted, it's going to cause problems. So just make sure your cell phone, your lovely text messages to your girlfriend, etc., delete all of that stuff. Keep it clear. But if it happens that they do find something, just be very honest. Look, I visited, yes, I have a girlfriend. Just be honest, truthful, straightforward, and you'll be just fine, okay? Now, if you're finding at the airport that you're having problems, one thing you can do is ask to be deferred into the United States. What that is basically is they will forward your file to USCIS, and at a later date you can go into that office with Customs and Border Protection and you can actually explain yourself. You can explain what you're doing, why you're doing it, etc. At the airport is very hectic. They think everyone's lying to them. So one thing you can do is you can simply be very courteous. May I be deferred into the United States? The officer has discretion to defer you into the United States. So I hope these tips help you because, you've spent a lot of time, money, effort, and energy to get these visas. and you don't want to have a bad day at the airport. Thank you for watching GrayLaw TV. Click below, like and subscribe.
Hey guys, it's Courtney from GrayLaw TV, and today I'm going to answer a few of your questions. I have a question here from Kira Gassel, and she said, what if, like in my case, I'm a student and my boyfriend's family wants to meet me and invited me to join them on their vacation? They're willing to cover my expenses. Would the consulate approve my visa even if I'm a student? The fact that you're a student could actually be helpful to this situation. You can show that you are enrolled in school, that you're taking a vacation, and that classes resume on whatever date. So you would take something from your school showing that you're enrolled in the next semester of courses and that you have ties to, you have an apartment, you have bank accounts, you have lots of ties to your home country. I don't know if your boyfriend is a United States citizen and lives in the United States and you're coming to visit him and his family and go on a vacation and they're going to pay for you. That can be tricky. Make sure you check out the B1, B2, what they're going to ask you at the consulate video for that one. I talk about that quite a bit. I don't know if your boyfriend goes to school with you abroad. Maybe he's doing a year abroad. You live in Spain and he's in Granada with you for a year, and so he's going on vacation like for Christmas break or whatever. You guys are, for winter break, you're going to travel to the United States to go skiing in Aspen, and then you're both going back to school. So you could show that, you're both enrolled in school, you're going out and coming back. I wouldn't take one of those sponsor letters. They're going to want to know that things are paid for. So I don't know if you could show money in your bank account or tell them that. Maybe in this particular case, when you have a trip that's going to be paid for, you can take a letter from boyfriend's parents. I'm a little iffy about that. I wouldn't show it to them unless, they specifically ask for it. I would just explain like, hey, I'm, going on vacation with my boyfriend and his family is like covering the bill for everything. It's super cool. If they ask, do you have evidence of that? Then I would show them that letter that says, my son and his girlfriend are flying out. We're going to Aspen. We're taking care of their accommodations and flights and, and then their flights back home. Okay? This is a question from somebody who didn't leave their name. Do I really need to show my hotel reservation to the officer even if I have not planned anything about it? No, you don't need to go out and get a hotel reservation or book a flight or do your conference registration if you're going to a conference. If you have those things, if you're, if the company that you work for registered 5 people from their company for a conference in the United States and they want you to be one of those people, then you would take proof of the 5 registrations and a letter from your company stating that they would like you to be one of the participants. If you do for any reason have a flight, you got a refundable flight because there's a wedding happening in 2 weeks and it just came up, your brother's getting married, he's eloping, he wants you to be there, and you bought your flight because you just know that this is going to happen and it's refundable in case you don't get your visa, but you got it because the prices were low and you didn't want them to go up before your interview. In that case, then yeah, I got a flight, it's 2 weeks, I have the return ticket booked already for 2 weeks, after I arrive, and that could be helpful to you. But I wouldn't go out, they don't expect you to have it. It would be an unusual circumstance, but if you do have it, it can be helpful. Okay, next question is from Tariq Tarek. What do you need to do if you're already outside the US and you have a 10-year bar and you have a US citizen spouse and your I-130 is approved? What you need to do, Tariq, is get a very good lawyer. Okay, there are ways around bars depending on the circumstances. There are waivers available, but it really depends on your very particular situation and you're going to need help. So what you would do is you would go through the usual process, and then that lawyer would help you file a waiver either in advance of your consular interview or at the consular interview. You could take the waiver with you. Sometimes you think you need a waiver and you actually don't. And so if you go to the consular interview, the officer will say, here's your visa, congratulations. Or they'll say, you know what, you need a waiver because X, Y, and Z happened, and at that point you could submit a waiver. So in that situation where you have real sticky sort of issues that are particular to you, you were in the United States without status and left, sounds like that's what's happened, I would consult a reputable immigration attorney. So thank you for watching GrayLaw TV. I really love seeing your questions. Keep sending them in and let us know what you would like to see, and we'll do some segments on that. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hey, this is Courtney with GrayLaw TV, and today we're going to talk about the B1 visa for business visitors. So the B1 visa is available to anyone who's entering the United States for business purposes. This can be as simple as just, one face-to-face meeting or any kind of consultation with a business associate. The bigger your company is that's sending you, the better. But even somebody who's self-employed, who's coming over, you make something in your home country and there's a potential buyer in the United States and you want to meet face-to-face to negotiate a contract with that person, you can come in on the B1 visa. So what you need to bring with you, what's very important for this, is evidence that you're coming in for a business meeting. So a letter from your company, and again, the bigger the company, the better. If it's just you, it's not as strong, but I would still write a letter and sign it yourself and put it on your company letterhead that you're entering the United States to meet with, a potential buyer, to meet with a business associate, to meet with a potential partner or an existing partner, to have an in-person conversation about how the business is progressing and that this is essential to your business. So make sure you have a letter signed and dated on letterhead from your company. Okay, it's really, really important. And in that letter, I would include information that the company's going to pay for your flight, pay for your hotel, and pay for your incidentals while you're in the United States. I'd also include any evidence of conversations, correspondence that you've had with the business partner associate that you're going to be meeting with, arranging the date and time, or talking about, we need you to come out to the United States to go over XYZ contract or negotiate this or meet in person, or, I don't do business with people I haven't met in person. Can you please come out and meet with us? Anything that shows like the correspondence back and forth between your company and the U.S. company or the U.S. entities that you're going to do business with is going to be really important. So just gather all of that information together and take that with you, along with all the other information that you should be bringing to the B1, B2 interview that we've discussed in the B1, B2 segment on what documents to take with you. And I'd also check out the video about what they're going to ask you so that you're prepared for that question, okay? If you are self-employed and you're writing the letter for yourself, then you also want to make sure that you have your bank statements. If you're employed by a big company, you also want to take your bank statements showing ties. So don't think that because your company's paying for everything, you don't need to show your bank statements. Bank statements are also helpful to show them that you have a life in your home country and that you intend to return. And so intent to return is the most important thing here. It's key. That business meeting cannot be a job interview. Okay, that's the one thing it can't be, because that gives them the idea that you intend to enter and stay. Okay, so that's the only caveat there. Other than that, I think you're going to be great. Besides business meetings, the B1 visa is available for conferences. So if your company is sending you for a conference for 3 days, 4 days, you would similarly take a letter from your company stating why they want you to go to the conference, and then you would also take the conference brochure. If there's not like a hard copy brochure, then go on their website and print it out. If your company is already registered for 5 participants, you take the proof of registration from your company, let them know why it's important for you to go to that conference. Now, if for any reason your company is not paying for you to go to the conference because they sort of expect your company to do that, if for any reason they're not paying for you, and I know companies in the United States that don't, let them know that the company encourages you to go to the conference, and maybe that should be included in the letter from your company, that they encourage you to go to your conference, but they're not in a position to pay for everybody who wants to go to a conference to go, but that you're willing to pay for it because it really does help with promotion within your company. It helps with your earning potential. It helps with your marketability. And so you're footing the bill, and then you show them your bank statements showing that you have the ability to pay for your flight, for your hotel, and maybe show them like, oh yeah, I'm going to stay at the Hilton Hotel, which is in the conference center or right next to the conference center, and have it all planned out. They know when you're going and when you're not, when it's just sort of a ruse. You have a job that sort of matches and a company that matches with that conference, and that the conference is actually something that you know about, what you're going to listen to, what sort of meetings and sessions you're going to be part of, and how that's going to be valuable to you and to your company. Okay. So you can also travel if you're speaking at the conference. If you are going to a business convention and you're speaking at a convention, you're going to have a booth there for your company. That's also really helpful. Take the information that your company has paid to have the booth there. Take the information, the invitation inviting you to speak at the conference, and then showing your qualifications to do that. If you're a professor at a university, or if you're part of a company where you've worked for 20 years, oh yeah, here's a copy of my resume. I'm an expert in this, and they've invited me to speak for that reason, because it's a conference that pertains to my area of expertise. Another reason to travel to the United States on a B1 visa is to settle an estate. Okay, so you have a relative who's passed away, you're the next of kin, you're the executor of the estate, you're a beneficiary of the estate, you've inherited a house that you need to talk to realtors about selling. That is a reason to come in to settle financial affairs. The United States is very amenable once you show them that you show them a copy of the will showing that you're the executor. You may be able to show them, if it's your parents, you can show them your birth certificate and perhaps your parents' death certificate that's, going to be recent, within the last year or so, and I need to enter to settle their affairs. And they're typically pretty good about that. Training. You can enter the United States for a training. So there's a training that's not available in your home country or that's taking place in the United States and your company would like you to go, or you would like to go. You are a YouTube influencer, right? And they're having a huge VidCon here. YouTube is located in the United States. During VidCon, they're going to do lots of trainings about, how you can improve your site, how you can gain more followers. And this is your business. This is what you do for a living, and you need to know how to do that. And the only place that you're going to get that information is here. And so when there's a training of that kind, your company wants you to come in so that you can develop XYZ skill and take it back to your company. Again, you'll have the letters from the company, the letter from yourself if you're the CEO of your own company, and all the information about the actual conference, about the trainings that are going to be there, and information that this conference, exists in the United States, and they just don't have it abroad. So that's what you would take with you, along with all the other B1, B2 documents and information. Competitions. So you may enter on a B1 visa for business purposes if you are coming to participate in a competition. You're a golfer, you're a race car driver, you're a tennis player, something like that. You are not being paid to compete. You could win prize money, and that's fine, but you're not being paid to compete. So we've had some people ask us, can I come in on the B1 visa to go on American Idol or The Voice? The answer is no, because those shows, they pay for your hotel, they sometimes pay for your flights, they give you money for food, and so it's almost like you're being paid to be on those shows, and so the US won't typically allow you to come in on the B1 visa for those shows long term, maybe for the initial audition, but not really long term. So you're going to want to find something else there. But if you're just coming in and you're looking for prize money, now it's fine if you have sponsors, Nike sponsors you, whatever, but they're not paying you to compete. What you could get out of it really is the prize money at the end of the day that they give you for winning the competition. So that's absolutely fine to come in and you show them evidence of the competition, show them that you're this ranking person in this field and that you're going to compete and that you're not being paid for anything, and show them the bank account showing that you can, or something from your agent or your manager or whatever, showing that you have the money to go in and compete and then and pay for everything, and they should give you the visa. There's certain other little oddities that are B1 eligible, like if you're traveling through the United States, you're doing a run from Vancouver to Tijuana. Okay, they'll allow a B1 for things like that. And then if you're a crew member and you're on a cruise ship and you're coming in for a very temporary period to dock or between cruises, you know who you are. You're eligible for a B1 as a crew member as well. Thank you for watching GrayLaw TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe.